Ethan Cole only came back to the office to grab a forgotten laptop. He never planned to find his CEO drunk and crying alone in a bar on Christmas Eve. Victoria Lang, the most powerful woman at Langford Holdings, looked at him with challenging eyes and a bitter laugh. "Dare to walk me home?" she asked. Snow fell thick outside. She wore high heels, and he was just a single father who wanted to get back to his 2 kids. Ethan didn't know that saying yes tonight would make it impossible for him to leave. The Northlight Bar sat tucked between 2 glass office towers in the Riverstone district, its warm glow barely visible through the curtain of falling snow. Ethan pushed through the door at 11:47 p.m., shaking flakes from his jacket collar. He'd driven 20 minutes back to the office for that damn laptop, only to find the building locked for the holiday. Security had directed him here. Apparently his boss was still around. His boss being Victoria Lang, CEO. The woman whose signature could move millions. She sat at the far end of the mahogany bar, slumped over an empty martini glass. Her blazer hung crooked on the stool beside her. Black mascara tracked down her cheeks like war paint smeared by rain. Ethan froze. In 3 years at Langford Holdings, he'd never seen her anything less than immaculate. "Cole." Her voice slurred slightly. She didn't look up. "Let me guess. Forgot something important?" "My laptop, ma'am. Security said you might have the override code for—" "Don't call me ma'am." Victoria lifted her head. Her eyes were red-rimmed but sharp. "It's Christmas Eve. We're not at work." "Right. Sorry." She studied him for a long moment, then laughed a sound without humor. "You have kids, don't you? 2. Twins. They're 6, and you left them on Christmas Eve to get a laptop." She shook her head. "That's dedication. Or stupidity. Maybe both." Ethan shifted his weight. "They're asleep. My mother's watching them. I'll be back before they wake up." Victoria gestured to the bartender for another drink. The bartender, a middle-aged man with kind eyes, glanced at Ethan uncertainly. "I think maybe she's had enough," Ethan said quietly. "I think maybe you should mind your business." Victoria's words were sharp, but her hands trembled as she reached for her purse. She fumbled with the clasp, dropping it. Lipstick and credit cards scattered across the bar. Ethan moved without thinking, kneeling to gather her things. A photo ID card caught his eye, Victoria's driver's license, showing an address in the Harborview Towers. That was a 40-minute walk from here. In a snowstorm. In those heels. "Where's your car?" he asked, handing back her purse. "I have a car. Somewhere." She waved vaguely. "Driver took Christmas off." "Imagine that. Everyone wants Christmas off. You could call a ride share. I could do lots of things." Victoria slid off the stool, wobbled, caught herself on the bar. She looked at him with sudden intensity. "Here's a better idea. You walk me home. That's not a good— I'm not asking as your boss." Her chin lifted. "I'm asking as someone who doesn't want to spend Christmas alone in a car with a stranger. And I'm challenging you. I don't think you'll do it." Ethan glanced at his phone. 11:53 p.m. His mother would be fine for another hour. Lucas and Mia wouldn't wake until 7 at the earliest. Probably later they'd been up until 10 trying to catch Santa. "You live in Harborview?" he asked. "Penthouse 47B. That's a long walk in this weather. So you're refusing." She smiled coldly. "Smart. Responsible single father makes smart choice. Doesn't risk his job helping drunk boss." "I get it." Something in her voice made him pause. Beneath the bitterness was something else. Something hollow. "Put your coat on," Ethan said. "Let's go." Victoria's expression flickered surprise, maybe relief, before the mask slid back into place. She struggled into her coat, a designer piece that probably cost more than his monthly rent. Ethan steadied her elbow as she stepped toward the door. The bartender caught his eye. "Take care of her, yeah?" "I will," Ethan promised. They stepped out into the snow. The cold hit like a slap. Victoria gasped, then laughed, a real laugh this time. Startled and genuine. Jesus. When did it get this bad? About 2 hours ago. Ethan guided her toward the sidewalk. We should have called that car. Too late now. You committed. She took a step, her heels sinking into snow. Besides, I wanted to walk. I want to feel something. They moved slowly through empty streets. The city had transformed into something from a postcard, white and silent and strange. Streetlights haloed in the falling snow. Windows glowed warm in distant apartments where families slept, where children dreamed of presents. "Why do you hate Christmas?" Ethan asked after a few minutes. Victoria was quiet so long he thought she wouldn't answer. Then, "I don't hate it. I hate that it matters." That's not an answer. No? Here's a better one. I hate Christmas because it's a mirror. Shows you exactly how alone you are. She glanced at him. You wouldn't understand. You have kids, family, people waiting for you. It wasn't always that way. Ethan helped her over a pile of plowed snow at a corner. My wife left when the twins were 2. Filed for divorce, moved to California, barely calls. She decided motherhood wasn't what she wanted. Or maybe I wasn't what she wanted. Either way, Victoria stopped walking. I'm sorry. Don't be. We're better off. But those first couple years? He shook his head. Lonely doesn't begin to cover it. Single dad with 2 toddlers, working 60 hours a week, no family nearby. I get what you mean about mirrors, but you had the kids. Yeah, I had the kids. He smiled slightly. They saved me, gave me something to wake up for. They walked in silence for another block. Victoria's breathing was labored, the heels, the snow, the alcohol catching up with her. Want to know why I hate Christmas? She said finally. My parents kicked me out when I was 18. Day after Christmas, actually. I came out to them during dinner. My father said I wasn't his daughter anymore. My mother packed my bags. She laughed bitterly. Merry Christmas to me. Ethan felt something twist in his chest. Victoria, don't. I don't want sympathy. I'm telling you because you asked. She pulled her coat tighter. I built everything from nothing. Worked 3 jobs through college. Climbed every rung. Made CEO by 35. And you know what all that success bought me? A penthouse where I eat takeout alone. A company full of people who fear me but don't know me. And Christmas Eves at the Northlight Bar, drunk and pathetic. You're not pathetic. No? What am I then? Ethan considered this. Successful, brilliant, terrifying in meetings. He paused. Human. Tonight, you're just human. Victoria stumbled. Her heel caught on something buried in snow, and she pitched forward. Ethan caught her, his arm around her waist, pulling her upright. For a moment they stood like that, close enough that he could smell her perfume beneath the alcohol, feel her breath fog in the cold air between them. Thank you, she whispered. For catching you? For walking with me. They walked slower after that. Victoria leaned on him, not heavily, but enough that he could feel her weight, her trust. The snow thickened. Ethan's phone buzzed once, a text from his mother. All quiet here. Take your time. Tell me about them, Victoria said. Your kids, Lucas and Mia. Identical twins, but you'd never confuse them. Lucas is cautious, thoughtful, loves dinosaurs, can name 50 species. Mia's fearless. Climbs everything, wants to be an astronaut. Do they look like you? Thankfully, no. They look like their mother, blonde, blue eyes, beautiful kids. His voice softened. They're everything good I've ever done. That's a lot of pressure to put on 6-year-olds, maybe. But it's true. Victoria was quiet for a moment. I never wanted children. Everyone acts like that's unnatural, like there's something wrong with me. But I knew I'd be a terrible mother. I'm too selfish, too driven. Kids need someone who can put them first. Maybe, Ethan said. Or maybe, you just never had the chance to try. You think everyone's secretly maternal? I think people surprise themselves when they have to. They turned onto Harborview Boulevard. The towers rose ahead, glass and steel monuments to wealth. Victoria's building was the tallest, its top floors disappearing into low clouds and snow. At the entrance, she stopped, turned to face him. Thank you, Ethan, for tonight, for listening, she swayed slightly, for not making me feel invisible. You're not invisible. At work, I'm the boss. In life, She trailed off. Then, without warning, she kissed him. It was brief, clumsy with alcohol and cold. Her lips tasted like gin and something sweet. Ethan froze, his mind racing through 100 reasons this was wrong. She's drunk, she's your boss, she's vulnerable. You're vulnerable. This breaks every rule. But under all that was something simpler. The kiss felt like connection, like two lonely people reaching for warmth. Victoria pulled back. Her eyes were wide, shocked at herself. I shouldn't have. No, Ethan agreed. You shouldn't have. I'm sorry. Don't be. But I need to go. My kids. Of course. Your kids. She fumbled for her keys. Forget this happened. I'll forget this happened. See you after the holiday. She turned toward the building. Ethan watched her go, watched her struggle with the door, watched her shoulders curve inward as she stepped into the bright lobby. Alone again. And suddenly he couldn't let her. Victoria, wait. She turned, hope and fear mixed on her face. Ethan walked back to her. You shouldn't be alone tonight. I'm fine. I've been alone for 20 years. I'm good at it. That's exactly the problem. He took a breath. Come home with me. What? Come meet my kids. Have Christmas breakfast with us. Be part of something for one morning. He held up his hand. Nothing else. Just don't spend Christmas alone. Victoria stared at him like he'd spoken a foreign language. That's insane. You don't bring your drunk boss home to meet your children. I'm not bringing my boss. I'm bringing someone who needs Christmas. There's a difference. Ethan, this crosses every line. Yeah, it does. But I'm tired of lines, aren't you? He smiled slightly. My mother made enough food for an army. There's a couch with your name on it, and in the morning, 2 kids will wake you up at an ungodly hour demanding pancakes. It won't be elegant, it won't be quiet, but it'll be family. Real family. For one day, Victoria's eyes filled with tears. Why are you doing this? Because nobody should be alone on Christmas. And because you walked through a snowstorm, rather than admit you didn't want to go home to an empty apartment. And because... He stopped. Because I think maybe we're both tired of being strong all the time. She was quiet for a long moment. Then, yeah? Yeah. But if this is a terrible mistake, it probably is, Ethan agreed. Come on, my car's 3 blocks away. They walked back through the snow, no longer CEO and employee, just 2 people choosing not to be alone. Ethan's house sat in a modest neighborhood called Maple Ridge, where the houses were small and close together, where Christmas lights blinked from every porch, where snow covered cars like frosting. Victoria stared out the window as they pulled up. It's perfect, she said quietly. It's messy and loud and too small for 3 people, Ethan said. But it's home. Inside, his mother sat in the kitchen, reading a mystery novel. She looked up as they entered, her eyes widening at the sight of Victoria in her designer coat and smudged makeup. Mom, this is Victoria. She's... His mother, Patricia Cole, took in the situation with one shrewd glance. Then she smiled warmly. Any friend of Ethan's is welcome. There's a guest room upstairs, but the couch is more comfortable. Let me get you some blankets. Thank you, Victoria managed. I'm sorry to intrude. Nonsense. It's Christmas. This house has always had room for one more. Patricia paused. Though you might want to wash your face before the twins see you in the morning. They'll have questions. After Patricia left, Ethan showed Victoria the bathroom, found her a spare toothbrush and an old t-shirt to sleep in. The normalcy of it all, the modest house, the family photos on the walls, the Lego sets scattered across the living room floor seemed to overwhelm her. I don't belong here, she whispered. Neither did I once, Ethan said. Then I had kids and realized belonging isn't something you're born into, it's something you build. He set her up on the couch with blankets and pillows. Through the open door of the kids' room, Lucas and Mia slept peacefully, their blonde hair spread across pillows, their small faces innocent in sleep. They're beautiful, Victoria said. Yeah, they are. Thank you, Ethan. For this, get some sleep. Morning comes early around here. He went to his own room but didn't sleep. He lay awake wondering what he'd just done, what lines he'd crossed, what consequences would come. But underneath the worry was something else. Relief. That someone else wouldn't spend Christmas alone. Victoria woke to voices. Dad, there's a lady on our couch. Is she dead? Mia, she's not dead. She's sleeping. Why is she here? She's a friend. Be quiet. You'll wake her. Too late. Victoria opened her eyes to find two small faces inches from her own. Lucas and Mia Cole, identical blonde twins with curious blue eyes and zero sense of personal space. Hi, Lucas said carefully. I'm Lucas. That's Mia. You're sleeping on our couch. I am. Victoria agreed, sitting up. Her head throbbed. Her mouth tasted like cotton. I'm Victoria. Are you Dad's girlfriend? Mia asked bluntly. Mia. Ethan appeared in the doorway, his hair disheveled, wearing a faded t-shirt. Sorry, they have no filter. It's okay. Victoria smiled despite herself. No, I'm not your dad's girlfriend. I'm his friend. Do you want pancakes? Lucas asked. Dad makes really good pancakes on Christmas. Pancakes sound perfect. The morning unfolded in a chaos of normalcy that Victoria had never experienced. Ethan cooked while the twins helped by spilling flour and stealing chocolate chips. Patricia appeared with fresh coffee and knowing smiles. The tree in the corner held modest presents wrapped in bright paper. Can we open presents now? Mia bounced on her toes. After breakfast, Ethan said firmly. They ate at a small kitchen table, 4 chairs and Victoria perched on a stool borrowed from the counter. The pancakes were perfect. Lucas told Victoria extensively about his favorite dinosaur, the Ankylosaurus, for the armor. Mia demonstrated a cartwheel in the living room and nearly knocked over the tree. Your house is happy, Victoria said quietly to Ethan while the kids tore into presents. Most days. Sometimes it's chaos, sometimes I'm exhausted, but yeah, it's happy. Lucas opened a book about prehistoric creatures and immediately brought it to Victoria. Can you read with me? She looked at Ethan, uncertain. He nodded. For the next hour, Victoria sat on the floor with a 6-year-old, sounding out words about triceratops and velociraptors, while Mia built an elaborate Lego spaceship nearby. Patricia watched from the kitchen, sipping coffee, saying nothing but seeing everything. At one point, Mia declared Victoria's hair needed braiding. The results were lopsided and terrible, secured with pink rubber bands. Victoria caught sight of herself in the hallway, mirror designer pajamas covered in flour, hair in crooked braids, mascara probably still smudged somewhere. She looked ridiculous. She looked happy. Thank you, she told Ethan later, when the kids were distracted with new toys. You fit here, he said simply. Better than you think. I don't fit anywhere. Maybe you just never found the right place. Their eyes held. In that moment, something shifted. This wasn't charity. This wasn't pity. This was connection, real, complicated, and utterly forbidden. This is dangerous, Victoria whispered. I know. We work together. There are rules. Policies. I know. If anyone found out, Then we don't let anyone find out. Ethan's voice was steady. Not yet. Not until we figure out what this is. You want to see me again. Not at work. Yes. Do you? Victoria looked at the twins playing. At the Christmas tree with its blinking lights. At the life she'd never imagined wanting. Then she looked at Ethan, kind, steady, real in a way nothing else in her life was. Yes, she said. God help me, yes. They started, carefully. Coffee shops across town where no one from Langford Holdings would venture. Late-night texts after the twins were asleep. Stolen moments that felt like glimpses of an alternate life. Victoria met them at a small diner in the West End 2 days after Christmas. She wore jeans. Ethan had never seen her in jeans, and a simple sweater. No makeup, hair pulled back. She looked younger, softer. I feel like I'm in witness protection, she joked, sliding into the booth. No one knows us here. That's the point. Ethan pushed a coffee toward her. Black, 2 sugars. Right? You remembered. I pay attention. They talked for 2 hours. About everything except work. Victoria told him about her first apartment, a studio with 1 window and cockroaches, about working nights at a diner just like this one to afford business school, about the moment she gave her first presentation to a boardroom of men twice her age and realized she belonged there. Ethan told her about the night the twins were born, how terrified he'd been holding these tiny humans who depended on him, about his ex-wife's slow withdrawal from family life, how he'd missed the signs, about learning to braid hair by watching videos at midnight. You're a good father, Victoria said. I try. Some days I'm barely holding it together. That's all any of us can do. Their meetings became routine. Wednesday, coffee before work, when Ethan's mother could take the kids to school. Sunday, walks in the park, where Victoria wore sunglasses like a spy. Late-night phone calls where they talked until one of them fell asleep. At work, they were scrupulously professional. Victoria called him Mr. Cole in meetings. Ethan addressed her as Miss Lang. They never arrived or left together, never lingered in doorways, never let their eyes meet too long. But everyone noticed something. Victoria smiled more. Ethan seemed lighter. The grim efficiency of their CEO softened into something warmer. The exhausted single father walked with more spring in his step. You're seeing someone, Patricia said one evening, watching Ethan hum while doing dishes. Don't lie to me. I raised you. I know. She dried a plate carefully. Is it serious? I don't know yet. It's complicated. Is she good to you? Ethan thought about Victoria braiding hair with Mia, about her reading dinosaur books with Lucas, about the way she laughed when he told stupid jokes. Yeah. She is. Then, whatever's complicated, you'll figure it out. But complications had a way of finding you. The photo arrived on a Thursday. Anonymous email sent to the entire executive board. Victoria and Ethan at the West End diner, sitting close, her hand on his across the table. The timestamp showed it was from last week. Subject line: Ethics concern. CEO Victoria Lang. Victoria stared at her computer screen, ice spreading through her veins. Her phone lit up. Board Chair Richard Morrison. Then CFO Catherine Wells. Then 3 more executives. They called an emergency meeting for Friday morning. Victoria texted Ethan, "We need to talk. Now." They met in the parking garage, 2 levels down where no cameras reached. Someone knows, Victoria said without preamble. Someone sent photos to the board. The color drained from Ethan's face. How bad? Bad enough. They're calling a meeting tomorrow. They'll want explanations, assurances, probably resignations. Mine, Ethan said immediately. Not yours. I'll quit. Say I pursued you, that it was inappropriate, that you ended it. Don't be ridiculous. Victoria, you've worked your entire life for this position. I'm not letting you lose it because what? Because you were kind to me? Because you gave me a family for one morning? Her voice cracked. Because I fell in love with you? The words hung between them like smoke. You're in love with me, Ethan repeated slowly. I didn't mean to. I didn't want to. But somewhere between Christmas morning and now, it happened. She looked away. So I'm not letting you fall on your sword. We'll face this together, or not at all. They'll make you choose. Job or relationship. Then I already know what I'm choosing. Victoria. I spent 20 years alone, Ethan. 20 years building walls so high nobody could reach me. You climbed over them in one night. You and your ridiculous pancakes and your beautiful children and your terrible jokes. She met his eyes. I'm not going back to lonely. Not anymore. The meeting happened at 9 a.m. in the boardroom. 7 executives, all serious faces and folded hands. Victoria and Ethan sat across from them. Richard Morrison spoke first. Miss Lang, we need to address these photos and the implications of a relationship between you and a subordinate employee. I'm aware, Victoria said calmly, and I take full responsibility for any ethical concerns this raises. This isn't just about ethics. It's about liability, about power dynamics, about whether I can separate personal and professional, Victoria interrupted. The answer is yes. Mr. Cole received no preferential treatment. His performance reviews were conducted by his direct supervisor. He received no raises or promotions beyond what his work merited. Our relationship began outside of work and has remained separate from it, until someone decided it should be our business, Catherine Wells added. You understand how this looks. I understand that my personal life is my own, as long as it doesn't interfere with my professional duties. With respect, Miss Lang, when you're the CEO, your personal life is never entirely your own. Richard leaned forward. We're prepared to overlook this if you end the relationship immediately. No termination, no scandal, just discretion. Ethan started to speak. Victoria silenced him with a glance. No, she said. Excuse me, I won't end it. And if you're asking me to choose between this job and my personal life, then I choose my personal life. She stood. I'll have my resignation on your desk by end of day. The room erupted. Richard stood, Catherine started objecting. 2 other executives talked over each other. Ethan grabbed Victoria's hand under the table. Squeezed once. Wait! Catherine's voice cut through the chaos. Everyone, wait! She looked at Victoria with something like respect. What if there's another option? Catherine's proposal was simple. Ethan transfers to the Boston office. Same role, same salary. The relationship continues, but no longer within the same building. Victoria remains CEO. The board saves face. It's a compromise, Catherine said. Not perfect, but workable. Boston is 200 miles away, Ethan said. It's also still in the company. Still your career. Catherine looked at him steadily. And it removes the ethical issue without destroying either of your positions. Victoria felt torn. This saved her job, but took away the daily reality of Ethan and the twins. Still, it was better than the alternative. Can we have time to discuss? She asked. 24 hours, Richard said. Then we need an answer. Outside the building, Ethan pulled Victoria aside. I can't move to Boston. The twins have school, friends, stability. My mother lives here. I can't uproot their entire lives. I know. So we're back to me quitting. Victoria looked up at the Langford Holdings tower. She'd fought for years to reach the top, sacrificed everything. But now, standing in the afternoon sun with Ethan beside her, she felt the weight of that tower differently. It was just a building. Success was just a title. Family was real. What if I quit instead? She said slowly. Victoria, no. Listen. I have savings, investments. I could consult, freelance, start my own firm. The idea gathered momentum as she spoke. I could work from anywhere. Here. Near the twins. Near you. You'd give up being CEO? I'd trade being CEO for being part of a family. That's not giving up, that's choosing differently. Ethan stared at her. You'd really do that? Someone once told me that belonging isn't something you're born into, it's something you build. She smiled. I want to build it. With you. With Lucas and Mia. If you'll have me, there's nothing I want more. That evening, Victoria drafted her resignation letter. Not because she was forced to, but because she chose to. She gave 60 days' notice, enough to transition her replacement, enough to finish her projects properly. The board tried to change her mind, offered concessions, raises, bonuses. Victoria smiled and declined each one. I found something worth more, she said simply. Lucas and Mia took the news with characteristic directness. Does this mean Victoria can come to my birthday party? Mia asked. Yes, Ethan said. Can she read more dinosaur books with me? Lucas wanted to know. Absolutely. Cool. They went back to their Legos, the matter settled in their minds. Patricia cornered Victoria in the kitchen that evening. You gave up a lot, I gained more. You don't have to live here, you know. This house is small, I know. But maybe. Victoria hesitated. Maybe I could help find a bigger place, for all of us. When the time is right, Patricia studied her for a long moment. Then she pulled Victoria into a hug. Victoria hugged back, crying into Patricia's shoulder, letting herself be held by a mother for the first time in 20 years. The Northlight bar looked exactly the same. Same mahogany counter, same warm lighting, same gentle bartender who remembered faces. Victoria and Ethan walked in on Christmas Eve at 11:45 p.m., shaking snow from their coats. The bartender grinned. Well, look who came back. Hey, Danny, Victoria smiled. 2 hot chocolates, please. Virgin. On the wagon? On the wagon and happy about it. They took the same seats as last year. The bar was nearly empty, just a couple in the corner and a business traveler nursing whiskey. Feels like a lifetime ago, Ethan said. It was a different life. Victoria sipped her cocoa. I was so lost then. You weren't lost. You just hadn't found home yet. They sat in comfortable silence, watching snow fall past the windows. Victoria wore a simple sweater, no designer suit tonight. Her hair was down, braided clumsily by Mia before they left. An engagement ring glinted on her left hand, modest and perfect. The twins asleep when we left? She asked. Out cold. Sugar crashed around 9. Patricia's got them. Good. I wanted to do this. Come back here. Close the circle. Any regrets? Victoria thought about it honestly. The penthouse was sold. The CEO title belonged to someone else. Her days now involved dinosaur books and school pickups and figuring out how to be a mother to children who weren't hers by birth but were hers by choice. Not one, she said. You? Only that I didn't walk you home sooner. You walked me to the right place eventually. Victoria squeezed his hand. Home isn't a penthouse or a corner office. It's wherever your people are. Deep thoughts at midnight. It's Christmas Eve. I'm allowed. She stood, pulling him up. Come on, let's go home. To our family. They walked out into the snow, hand in hand. The city sparkled around them, transformed by ice and light. Somewhere across town, in a modest house in Maple Ridge, 2 6-year-olds dreamed of presents and pancakes. An older woman sat by a Christmas tree, reading her mystery novel, grateful for the chaos that had entered her quiet life. And in the Northlight bar, Danny wiped down the counter and smiled to himself. He'd seen a lot of Christmas Eves in this place. Lost people, lonely people, people searching for something they couldn't name. But every once in a while, someone found it. Found exactly what they needed when they weren't even looking. He locked the door at midnight, walking home through the snow to his own family. Grateful once again for the strange and beautiful ways that loneliness could transform into love. The end.